60 seconds.
I saw this illumination that was moving with respect to the stars. We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us. So technically, it becomes an unidentified flying object.
While Neil and Buzz were on the lunar surface, Neil switched to the medical channel and spoke directly with the chief medical officer, saying, they're here, they're parked on the side of the crater, they're watching us.
I believe that these ET vehicles and their crews are visiting this planet from other planets, which obviously are a little more technically advanced than we are here on Earth. Astronaut Gordon Cooper.
We should go boldly where man has not gone before. Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there?
Dr. Greer has been around people with top-secret clearance his whole life. His uncle helped to design the original lunar module that put the first men on the moon. In 1961, President Kennedy challenged NASA to put Americans in space and on the moon by the end of the decade.
Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
The Disclosure Project archives includes testimony from extraordinary individuals who were part of this great effort to explore outer space, including astronauts Gordon Cooper and Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon.
Yes, there have been ET visitation, there have been crashed craft, there have been material and bodies recovered, and there is some group of people somewhere that may or may not be associated with government at this point, but certainly were at one time, that have this knowledge and have been attempting to conceal this knowledge.
We walked over to one side of the lab and he said, by the way, we've discovered a base on the back side of the moon. And I said, whose? What do you mean, whose?
Well, let's see, where's that district again? Yeah. Probably worth mentioning. Okay.
And then he pulled out one of these mosaics and showed this base, which had geometric shapes. There were towers, there were spherical buildings. There were very tall towers and things that looked somewhat like radar dishes, but they were large structures. And at that point, I became frightened and I was a little terrified, thinking to myself that anybody walks in the room now, I know we're in jeopardy, we're in trouble, because he shouldn't be giving me this information.
April 2004. A live streaming video feed is activated.
The high-definition Earth viewing cameras on the International Space Station allow us to take pictures of the Earth and video as the space station orbits every 90 minutes.
But when the footage is reviewed 12 years later, it creates a media storm. A UFO in the form of a translucent square is clearly seen near the center of the frame.
It's a definite object that's out there. It seems unusual, for sure, in the distance. And what's particularly interesting is that after a very short time of recording it, the video just goes blue. And you could think, once again, this is a case of NASA just cutting short a transmission of something that shouldn't be there.
The astronauts have seen and continue to see objects in space that do not appear to be terrestrial. They do not appear to be our technology. And then the question becomes, whose technology are they?
And unexplained sightings by NASA's astronauts continue to grow. June the 30th, 2015. 3 separate UFOs are spotted leaving Earth's atmosphere and flying into space. Some of this footage has never before aired on television.
It's obvious that they're moving at thousands of miles per hour. Has to be. There's no other way. These are highly, rapidly moving objects coming from Earth, converging from radically different points of origin. NASA has said that these are satellites transiting Earth, but these look like they're coming up from the Earth and coming up at angles that are just hard to explain as satellites.
And they're moving in unison with the same goal in mind, and I believe that this is excellent proof that there is something taking place in outer space that probably has intelligence behind it.
3 UFOs are seen heading into the same sector of outer space. Moments later, the video feed is lost.
NASA and some other imagery experts have suggested that quite a lot of these films actually show little more than dust or ice particles, that it's very difficult for people to look at these sorts of films and be sure whether they're looking at a massive object far away or a very, very small object close to the lens.
Some researchers believe there's an alternative explanation for these UFO sightings.
The reality is there are literally tens of thousands of pieces of space junk, just trash that's literally littered our upper atmosphere that's in orbit. And it includes pieces of dead spacecraft, satellites that have gone offline. So, did they really see an alien craft? Or did they just see maybe one of the millions of different space debris objects that are up there? We may never know.
Then on July the 9th, 2016, yet another UFO is seen entering Earth's atmosphere. Again, the video is interrupted.
It seems almost every time there's an intriguing piece of footage from the International Space Station, something goes wrong and the feed is mysteriously cut. Now, is this censorship? Is classified information being deleted, withheld from the public? Or is it just equipment malfunctions? We don't know.
NASA claims the video feed suffers regular outages as the space station passes out of range of relay satellites. But is this really the case?
These issues have happened so many times, you have to draw the conclusion that they are really doing this to keep information from the public.